Hey everybody, it's time for part 3 of the Monday Q&A, so let's get to it. One leg starts rising faster than the other during the last reps of heavy squats. What the fuck? Alright, a few problems going on here. First of all, you could very well have a core instability, a core weakness. You need to start doing more core work. Strengthen up your abs, your obliques, your spinal erectors. You need to get all of that stronger. Number 2, you're probably not tight enough. You're not passing what I call Jason's pencil test. You guys have seen me mention a couple times, and that's you need to be ratcheted up so tight, with your scapula pulled back so tight, your glutes clenched so tight, and everything so rigid that your training partner could not pull a pencil out of your ass with a tractor if he tried. So if you can't pass the pencil test, then you're not tight enough on your squats. There's no excuse for that, and that is definitely going to contribute to this. But it's absolutely an instability issue with either a muscle weakness in your core or you just simply not getting tight enough that's allowing this to happen. Alright, next question. Squatting, bench pressing, and deadlifting every day. Thoughts? This is something I've talked about in the past, and actually right now in my meet prep, I do squat and bench press every day. Earlier this year, I was actually squatting 6 days a week. And this has successfully been done by drug-free athletes as well. Now the thing that you've got to look at is programming correctly, using auto-regulation. When you start doing ultra-high frequency training like this, you have to auto-regulate, really pay attention to your body, deload correctly when needed. But when used effectively, you can make very vast strides in improvement. It's a very effective method, but it's got to be done correctly. You've got to be careful with it. And the other caveat there is you won't be able to deadlift heavy. You can get away with squatting, you can get away with push pressing, bench pressing, chin-ups, all of that stuff pretty much every day as long as you're careful. But the deadlift, you start hitting 85-90% intensity regularly on a deadlift, it will bury you. So the deadlifts, you're going to have to keep the weight lower, keep the RPE lower, and really be careful with the deadlifts if you start doing this. And maybe even cut them down to not doing them every day. But you can do it. You can get away with even the deadlifts. It's just you have to be a lot more careful with how you work them and what sort of intensities, or they will bury you for reasons that I can't really get into in this short video. Stuff I've covered in the past as far as the way that deadlifts tax the central nervous system in a way that squats do not. Alright, next question. Is using the pussy pad for squatting the same principle as using knee wraps, that it will absorb a portion of the load and therefore not be beneficial? Or are there any benefits to using it? No, you're mixing these up. The pad is just a cushion. If you don't understand what I'm saying about knee wraps, you've never used them. Knee wraps are going to add literally at least 50 pounds to the amount of weight you squat because they spring you out of the bottom. That pad doesn't move. The wraps do. When you wrap your knee up, it compresses the wrap behind your knee like a gigantic spring that shoots you back up. It's not the same thing. Now, the issue with the pad, no, I don't recommend them. And some people are going to say, well, I've seen this or that person use them. Well, when you're an advanced lifter, after you've won your first 30 or 40 powerlifting meets, if you want to try to incorporate the pad for whatever reason, because you do get a problem with your neck with 700-800 pounds on it, try to mess around with it. But for anybody else, I'm going to say no, don't do it. And the reason is that the reason you need a pad for anything less than 700 pounds is because you don't know how to set the bar correctly and you haven't built the little callus you need where the bar goes in the correct spot, which should only take a couple of weeks. But if you need a pad for 400 pounds and you're a male, I'll maybe permit 500 for a female, but 400 per a male, you're not setting the bar correctly, which also means that since you're not setting the bar correctly and that pad can shift the way the bar is going, you're going to end up injuring yourself because the bar is not set in the correct position on your shoulders. You need to learn how to place the bar because you're going to end up injuring yourself. It shouldn't be painful for you to have 200 pounds on your shoulders, even as a novice male starting out, if the bar is set in the correct place and you're tight enough. So you need to learn how to squat correctly and get rid of the pussy pad. Alright guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.